Hi, welcome to the replay, because if you're watching this part, I know it's the replay part. I'm going to invite a few friends and then we're going to get this little great video started. So hang tight. And if you come in, say hello. Hey, welcome. Let me know who just joined. Say hi when you get here. I'm just inviting a couple people, then we're going to dive right in. Going to keep it kind of brief, but I want to make sure that I hit this topic for our questioners. All right. Hey, Erica. Welcome, Shug. Glad to see that you could join me here live. Okay, so now that we are settled in, sorry, it's warm up here this morning. Okay, so this question came in about a week or two ago. Sorry it took me so long to get to this, but I trust in divine time. So all in perfect timing. And hey, Rachel, glad you're here too. So I'm going to address this question. If you ladies have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, we can, as long as we stay on topic. I've got about 10 minutes. Figured that we can make this kind of short and sweet, but still powerful and to the point. Y'all know how I roll. So the question that came in was from one of our group members, and she said, I know that holding on to grudges and resentment is poison for my own body. Any words of wisdom to forgive someone who we feel has done us horribly wrong and replace it with happiness? Where do you begin the forgiveness process? So this is so true. So true. And I commend, Nia, your awareness that holding on to this way of thinking, holding on to this kind of experience, it really is traumatic for our bodies. And if you've done any of the body balance breakthrough, then I know that this is really going to help you or hit home for you, because we did expand our understanding of why the body carries the weight that it does and what weight it is that we carry. And grudges, resentment, and lack of forgiveness is definitely a heavy weight to carry. So you are spot on. I'm getting chills just even bringing up this topic. But you're spot on in realizing that this is something that's very harmful to our own bodies. So where do we begin this process, especially for those that really screwed us over? How do you begin to let go of that resentment? How do you begin to let go of that anger and not hold a grudge? So forgiveness is it's an interesting, complicated thing, but we're going to make it very simple. One of my mentors opened my eyes to this perspective. So this is where I'm going to begin, because it really hit home for me. He says that forgiving, how to do it and what it is, it's right there in the word. Forgiving. Forgiving is for giving. It's you giving it to yourself, giving it to others. And basically, just to make this as simple process as possible, true forgiveness, all that forgiveness really is your reconnection to, your recognition of the divine perfection that is happening around us at all times, is surrounding us at all times. So ultimately, in its most simplistic form, that's what forgiveness is. Returning to the truth of the moment, the actuality, not your current day reality, but the actuality, the truth, the bigger picture of what's happening, which is a divine unfolding of which you are the main starring character. You are the one who the world unfolds for. If you notice, it kind of just flops out there everywhere that you go. You drive down the road, boom, 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 there's more road. You walk through your house, boom, 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 there's more house, right? It's all unfolding in front of us. So when we think about these characters, these rascals, these other cast members that are joining our main stage, we can recognize the fact that they are scripted for the part, so to speak. They have the divine role of playing out whatever injustice and wrongdoing you are on deck for receiving in this lifetime. Erica says, forgiveness is so difficult, but I learned that not forgiving hurts me more than the other person did. Yes. And that's such a good point. It's not even, Erica, that it hurts you to not carry around the forgiveness more than it hurts the other person to not forgive them. Because I mean, chances are you're sitting there stewing and feeling all this discomfort in your own physical being while they're having breakfast and thinking about what they're going to do for the day. They're not thinking about you and how they did you wrong. In fact, if anything, if they do pull up that memory, they probably pull up with it all the rationalizations and reasons and justifications within their own mind as to why they did this thing. I mean, we never do anything out of integrity. We never do anything out of integrity. We humans never do anything out of integrity without having a justification behind it, without feeling justified. Now, other people's justification can only bring us so much relief. So we have to get into a place where we can bring in justice to those things that are done to us that are really just, they're inexcusable. Just because we justify them doesn't make them okay. Just because we justify them doesn't mean that we're magically in integrity, even if we look out of it. Justification doesn't undo the harm. But when we can take the moment to bring in divine recognition, I've never heard that terminology before, but that's what I'm going to start calling it. Divine recognition. To recognize the fact that even though this grave injustice was done, it was done for a reason, for a divine reason. You may know what that is today. You might not know what it is this lifetime. But if we can just return to what we know to be true, because that's what happens. That's why it feels so uncomfortable. That's why we get so tangled up and hung up in it, is because it's starting to lead us down a path of untruth, which is why it feels like crap, because it's not true. So it doesn't ring true. So it doesn't feel at ease in our body because it's not the truth. Whatever lens we look through, they did this to me. We can follow that up with, therefore, this is what it means about me. And that's the part that causes all the discomfort, because any story that you create about yourself, regardless of what happens in this life, that has anything other to do with you being a divine character amongst a divine order, it is a mistruth. It feels like dis-ease and discomfort in the body. I told you I was going to keep this simple. Rachel says, I have a great story that relates that I am doing a live video on. Awesome. Awesome. Share it or go live in this group. I don't mind. It's here for us. So when we can understand it, when we can look at the forgiveness process, not as this is how we commonly see it as humans, forgiveness means letting him off the hook. I'm going to let him off the hook. So I'm going to keep him dangling on the hook for as long as possible, because as long as he's on that hook, then it's pointed out that he has done something wrong. She has done something wrong. And as long as she has done something wrong, I am a victim of my circumstances. I am the one who has been done wrong too. And that is the part that we're trying to set straight. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You're an empowered badass bitch who is having some shit go down. That's what's happening. Let's get real about it. If crappity crap happens to you, it's because you're a badass. That's what it comes down to. If shit happens to you that is implorable, it's because you are that amazingly awesome. So start your story from there. Because I am such a badass empowered bitch, this happened in my field because I can be a steward of it. I can make a badass bitch response to it, and I don't have to buy into this victimizing situation. I can see through it. I can see it that it's a chance for me to rise above. I can see it as it's this person defining their character, not me defining it for them. And all they're doing is helping me to see how I have one more filter in place that's stopping me from seeing my own glory. One more filter in place that needs to be removed before I can just allow life to be without making up a story about how it's victimizing me in the process. So what these characters do, they're cleansing us. The words trial by fire just came to my mind because it's kind of that same thing. They catch you on fire on the inside so you can burn up anything that's unlike it. That's the fiery pits of hell. That's where they exist. Rachel says, I might do that. Thanks, Chrissy. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Or do the live and then just share it here in the group. I don't know if you can do that or download it, upload, whatever. Whatever. This is y'all's group. So as long as it pertains. So let me know if this is hitting some marks on the forgiveness process. So I would say, where do you start in letting go of grudges and resentment is getting back to the truth, the actuality of what's happening. You're a divine character amongst a divine order that looks kind of chaotic whenever you stand on the outside and only see it from this human perspective, when we only experience it with our eyes, our ears, our nose, our five senses, right? But all that is waking you up to realize there's something more that's happening. We use this to interpret. So if we're feeling the discomfort, the disease on the inside, if we're feeling that resentment, that grudge, we begin the process by getting back to the truth of what's happening. The truth is always, always the starting point. The truth shall set you free. Set you free. So get back to that spot of truth. Realize that all this harm that has been done to you, you do not need to contribute to. And when you hold on to resentment and grudges, when you do anything other than look at this from that truth lens, then you are perpetuating the harm that is happening. You're becoming an active participant in the harm doing instead of one who is liberating and freeing. Okay, so be aware of that. But this isn't a let me get it right and beat myself over the head because I keep doing things that are harmful to myself. No, that's counterintuitive. We want to reverse that cycle. So when we find ourselves in this place where we're victimizing ourselves because of our experience. Now, when I say victimizing myself, I'm not negating, again, these rascals do some up to us. This happens. This is real. This is reality. This is how we actually experience it. That's real. But we have to get back into that divine truth. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And your experience of it will only ever be your experience of it until you remove the filter that is stopping you from seeing the divinity that's within you. And if you're seeing someone who you know to be integrity filled do something totally out of integrity, then it's your opportunity to set them free as well. To set yourself free of your filter, if you want to go into a conversation, you might not need to. And you know what? Some of the people that we need to forgive, we can't have conversations with. But if you are in a place where you can have the conversation, perhaps just even saying that, I know you to be a person of integrity. I know you to be a fan of me. I know you to be part of my support system. I know you to be someone who is always looking out for my highest good and my well-being. So can you help me to understand how X, Y, and Z actions were an example of your integrity, were an example of you advocating for me, were an example of you having my back and supporting me? They might have an answer that could blow your mind. They could. Because again, these are our beloveds. Our beloveds. We're not fools. We love them for a reason. They are good. They are amazing. Sometimes they need to be reminded of that. And sometimes you have to remind yourself of that when you're just observing their actions through your filter, through your lens, who you can only see. You can only watch these motions unfold and put the story that you put to it. That's your filter. If that story is anything other than I'm a divine being, have a divine experience, and all is indeed well, then that's a filter that's in place. They're trying to free you of it. So you start the process by getting back to the truth. You recognize that your own peace of mind, happiness, that enough harm has been done to you, you do not need to be harmful to you as well. And then I would say step 3 would be love the one who's feeling all the feels. So now that you've signed up to not be the one who is going to cause you more pain, it doesn't necessarily mean you're ready to step out of the pain. It doesn't mean the pain is done with you. There might be more to heal and to clear. And if that is the case, then you just continue step 2, which is loving the one who's feeling all the feelings. And perhaps part of the forgiveness that we need to look at is forgiving ourselves for making the series of choices that led us into the situation in which another person did us harm. Perhaps we need to forgive ourselves for not trusting those red flags whenever they popped up along the way and that we ignored and overlooked. Perhaps we need to forgive ourselves for creating the same situation yet again that we were so committed to never creating again. Look at where you can forgive yourself. And the reason that I mentioned the weight loss journey with this, because I think this is very important to know, this has come up several times from several women and people that are on this journey, is all about this whole idea like, okay, Chrissy, I get it, but why am I still fucking it all up? Okay, Chrissy, I get it. So then why am I still struggling to do the right thing? Because, baby, you got to have as much time being okay with getting it wrong as you are okay with getting it right. When you feel equal about getting it right as you do about getting it wrong, guess what? No longer becomes a struggle. So more often than not, what I feel needs to be healed, released, forgiven, let go when it comes to weight and body and our food choices and making them or lack of making the ones that are really supportive of us. A lot of times, to me, we have to sit in the doing it wrong and knowing that we're doing it wrong, but learning how to love the one who's getting it wrong. Love her anyway. If she wants cheesecake for breakfast and she just cannot stop herself from having it, give her freaking cheesecake and give her a high five. Tell her she's a badass. If you haven't done these things, if you haven't experienced being in total okayness with doing things absolutely wrong and not getting it perfect, perhaps that's what needs to be forgiven before she'll get on board with you. If she's still dragging her feet, if she's still tripping you up, it's not because you're getting it wrong anymore. It's because you're still freeing yourself, cleansing yourself, healing yourself of this belief that you could ever get it wrong. You can't. Even your most wrongness. Divine perfection. Wouldn't have happened if not. And to me, it's just a worthwhile endeavor. If you haven't gone through it being okay with yourself, try going through it being okay with yourself and see what happens on the other side. You don't know. You don't know. And again, regardless of what happens, you make the right choice, you don't. You're surrounded by rascals, you're not. Right? Whatever your situation is, you always deserve more love, not less. You make this your one focus, your one goal, the rest will fall into place. Love yourself back to your divine perfection, and the rest will fall back into place. All these characters will make sense, even when you want to punch them in the face. By the way, knowing all this stuff doesn't stop you from wanting to punch them in the face, at least not from my experience. However, it does give you another option to explore than feeling that desire and feeling like that's the only option that you have to continue to suffer and knock them out. Right? I'm so not a physically aggressive person, but man, do I have a sharp tongue and a sharp mind, and can really do some harm, and a very vivid imagination. Thankfully, it doesn't act itself out very often. I think that's why I get a lot of the crap. I think that's why I get so overwhelmed with anxiety and overwhelmed, because I'm empathing it all, because God knows, literally, God knows I'm not going to actually kill anybody. I'm not. I'm so sensitive. I have a hard time with even like ants and gnats, let alone a whole human. I mean, come on now. I'm not going to do any harm. So I get the overwhelm. And sadly, I was doing the harm to myself with all the overwhelm. And now I've learned how to shift that into another direction. Right? Because I don't have to take it all personal. I can just be that conduit, that liver for the universe, the cleansing vessel through which funky energy is sent. Don't have to self-identify with it. I can self-identify as a divine being who is here on a really big mission. It's pretty radical. And again, I say this like every video, maybe I've lost my mind, but it's a heck of a lot more fun than having a mind that's always telling me that I'm getting everything wrong and that I should be punished for it or whatever, such nonsense. Rachel says, I 100% agree. The sooner you forgive yourself, the sooner you'll move through it. Yeah. So start that journey with yourself. Get back to the truth about yourself and the truth about what's happening, right? So recognize that divinity is happening around you. Get back to not being one of the harmful rascals doing the harm to yourself, and then be with whatever feelings are there. So you're not ready to forgive, even though you know consciously that it's better for you. Well, guess what? You know that consciously it's better for you because that, baby, is a preview of your destiny. So quit forcing yourself down this proverbial divine path and instead just be where you're at. You're not at that section yet. It's kind of like getting pissed off that you're not on chapter 4 when you're on chapter 2. You're just on chapter 2. There's nothing wrong with you. You're going to get to chapter 4. Just keep reading, right? It's the same thing. We just want all that instantaneous relief, because there's a part of us that knows that that's a possibility. And one day that might be your reality along with the actuality of the situation. But in the meantime, we're closing that gap. We got to let life catch up with us. And part of the ways that we keep ahead of life is that this thing keeps telling us what's next. So that desire for closure, forgiveness, for releasing of resentment and holding grudges, it's your inevitable destiny. It's the truth of who you are. You will return to that. In the meantime, love the one who's got all the feelings. All right, I made this video twice as long as I intended. Of course, I'm so glad that y'all were here to play live with me. And if you're watching the replay, definitely comment below. How was this for you? How do you handle grudges and resentment? How do you feel about the forgiveness process? Let's keep this conversation going. And Rachel, I hope that you have a beautiful day. I see that you're still here. All right, y'all. Drop some comments below, and I will see you, I don't know, next time around. Yeah, soon, because I got a lot of announcements to make. They've been brewing and building up inside me. So, all right, love you.